Now we're going to do two things. First, we're going to use Ladda, which if you look here, this is a really cool little user feedback feature. It's available in jQuery or Angular, and it allows you to have buttons with really nice user feedback features with the spinners. We're going to use that. This is the jQuery version, or the non-Angular version, but it's fine. There's actually an Angular version of Ladda available as well, called Angular Ladda. So that's the one we're going to use. So the first thing we want to do is we want to include Ladda, Angular Ladda in our project. So I'm just going to add bower install Angular Ladda. Now that it's installed, the next step is to add the relevant files to our HTML. So the first one we want to add is the CSS file. We want to install the themeless version of it because we're using Bootstrap, and if you install the themeless version of it, it won't override in any of the styles of Bootstrap. So this is the Ladda dist, Ladda themeless min.css. And then we go to the bottom. We need to include some JavaScript files. I'm just going to copy and paste them all in rather than type it out. Okay, so we need to include the spin.min, which came in the Ladda package. Then we need to include the Ladda, which is the core Ladda, and then the Angular Ladda version is the kind of Angular binding for Ladda that we have. So we've now included all three of them in, and the final step, if you remember from the auto validate functions, we need to go into our main.js and we need to add Angular Ladda, which is the name of the module that Angular Ladda lives in, and yep, we just add that in. So now that's added in there, we have a new directive that we can add to our HTML. So let's go up there, let's add it to our register button. So the directive is called Ladda, and if Ladda is true, it will display the spinner, same as the Ladda page. If it's false, the spinner will go away. So for now, I'm just going to show it as true. And another attribute I'm going to add to it is we want to show, I like it when it has something called the style of expand right. So this is going to show the spinner coming out to the right of the button. So this is always going to be true. So it means if we launch this page now, and then we go to the bottom, you can see there it is, the register button, and it's spinning. But obviously we don't want it to always spin. We only want it to spin when we are actually submitting the form. So what we do is we go into the onSubmit. We'll actually go into the controller itself, and I'm going to create a variable called on the scope called submitting. It's a boolean, and I'm going to say it's false to begin with, so it is not submitting. And then when we hit on submit, I'm going to set that to true. So when that function gets called, we're going to start submitting, and then if the post comes back either a success or a failure, you've got to remember the failure, we want to set that to false. So when this function gets called, submitting sets to true. When either the success or error handler gets hit, we're going to set that to false. And then we're going to go to the Ladda button again, and instead of true, I'm going to set that to submitting. But while we're here, I mean, as well as that, I actually also, the register statement doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like if we aren't submitting, register makes sense, but actually when we're submitting, I want to just give it another message of registering. So how we do that, we're going to do the ng show again. We're just going to create a span. So on if submitting is equal to true, I want the button to say registering. And if submitting is equal to false, I just want it to say register. So that's what I want for the button. So let's go back to our page and let's refresh. See, now it's register. Now I'm going to fill out this form. I'm going to speed it up in the video. Okay, I filled the form out, so it's validated. So it's going to call the onSubmit function, and then I'm going to hit register. You see it's registering, and there we go. Smiley face, everything came back okay, and the register button went back again.